Google search, which for so many of us is basically the homepage of the internet, is going through its biggest transformation in a generation. And the engine behind this massive change, it's all artificial intelligence. What we're witnessing isn't just a shiny new feature. It's a complete rethinking of what a search engine is even for. Okay, let's really get into this. For years and years, search was basically a directory. You'd ask a question, and what you got back was a list of potential answers. The classic 10 blue links. But now that's changing. It's becoming an answer engine. Instead of just giving you a list of websites, Google is more and more likely to give you a single, summarized answer right there at the top. And that fundamentally changes the whole relationship between you, Google, and the websites that make up the web. So to really wrap our heads around the shift, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. We'll start with how search is changing, then we'll look at the data behind what people are calling the click-through crash, then we'll dive into how the AI actually works, the new playbook for getting seen, and finally, what all of this means for the future of the web. So first up, search is really becoming a conversation. Google is moving way beyond just a simple search box. We're now asking these longer, much more complex questions, sometimes 2 or 3 times longer than we used to, because, frankly, we expect a single, synthesized answer, not just a list of links that we have to sort through ourselves.
So what's the actual, tangible impact of this big shift? Well, for anyone out there with a website, doesn't matter if it's a small blob or a huge company, this is where the data starts to get really, really interesting. The one central question that every business, every creator is asking right now is this. If Google is just answering questions directly, why would anyone ever need to click on my website? What is the real impact on traffic?
So here it is. This is the crucial number. A recent study found that when one of these AI overviews appears in the search results, the average click-through rate for the regular organic links just plummets. We're talking by about 70%. That is not a small dip. That is a seismic shift in how people behave.
And this chart right here really tells the story behind that number. See, without an AI summary, the average click-through rate is sitting just under 3%. But when that AI overview is there, it drops to less than 1%. People are getting their answers without ever leaving Google, and that means way fewer clicks for everybody else.
But hold on, it's not all bad news. That same data shows a really critical silver lining. If your website is one of the sources that's actually cited inside that AI overview box, your click-through rate gets a major boost. This basically means that getting featured in the AI answer, that's the new super coveted top spot in search. Okay, so how does Google even decide what goes into that magic AI box? To adapt, we really need to understand the mechanics. So let's take a little peek under the hood. Let's start with a clear definition, and this is coming right from Google's own documentation. AI overviews are designed to give us a quick summary of a complex topic. They're not for every single search, but for those times when one single website might not have the whole picture. So how does this whole thing work? Well, when you ask a really complex question, Google's system does something called a query fanout. Basically, it breaks your question down into a bunch of smaller, related subsearches. Then its AI pulls together information from a whole range of top pages to build that final AI overview, and it includes links back to the sources it used. So when are you actually going to see one of these things? Well, the data is pretty clear on this. These overviews are way more likely to be triggered by longer, more conversational questions. Think 4 words or more. And they're much more common for questions that start with words like what, how, or why. Searches where you're looking for an explanation, not just a link. All right, so this brings us to the playbook. Given everything we've just seen, how do you actually adapt your strategy to not just survive, but thrive in this new AI-driven world? First things first, take a deep breath. Google has been super clear on this point. You don't need to throw out everything you know about SEO. Their official guidance says that the best practices for traditional SEO are the exact same things that will help you show up in AI features. There's no secret, AI-only trick here. The core principle that now matters more than ever is something called EEAT. That stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. See, AI systems are designed to prioritize content that has these qualities. They have to trust the information they're summarizing, so they look for signs that your content is credible and that it comes from a real expert. This really means the game is shifting. Old tactics, like just stuffing your page with keywords to try and trick an algorithm, that's dead. The new strategy is all about building genuine topic authority.
As Google's head of search, Elizabeth Reid, puts it, you can't get away with shallow content anymore. You have to create high-quality, in-depth stuff that brings a unique perspective and actually helps the user. And here's the real payoff for adapting to this. You might get fewer clicks overall, sure, but the clicks you do get are so much more valuable. These are deep clicks from users who read the AI summary and decided they want to learn even more from you. They're not bounce clicks. They are highly engaged, qualified visitors who are much more likely to actually spend time on your site. Okay, finally, let's zoom all the way out. What does this massive shift really mean for the future of information and the very nature of the web itself? We are definitely moving beyond the simple era of blue links. Now, it's really important to keep all this in perspective. According to Google's own head of search, this isn't the end of websites. She says the story of the blue link is far from over, because at the end of the day, people want to hear from other people. An AI can summarize facts, but it can't replicate that unique human perspective, that experience, and that spirit you find in really great content on the web. And that leaves us with a final, and I think pretty provocative question. In an age of instant AI answers, the old metrics for success are changing. The game may no longer be about maximizing raw clicks, but about building something far more durable: trust. Becoming a trusted source. That is the real key to not just surviving, but actually thriving in this new era of search.